Okay, so today we were at the Legacy Business Leaders meeting and somebody asked, okay, I am thinking about retiring. Should I give equity to someone who's thinking about taking over the business? And here are some of the things you need to be aware of. Number one, equity is permanent. So once you give someone 10, 20, 30% equity, they actually own that portion of the company. And so if the relationship changes later, it gets very difficult and expensive to get it back. In my opinion, they should buy equity, right? So if your business is worth 2 million and you just hand an employee 20%, you could have effectively handed them a check of $400,000 of value before they've paid any money. And so a lot of times people act like equity is like monopoly money, right? And so you want to be careful that you don't treat it like that. The next one is being a great employee doesn't automatically make someone a great owner. So running the company, assuming financial risk, managing cash flow, hiring, firing, selling, making strategic decisions are very different than just doing one position well. Being a CEO and running a company, you have to be able to wear lots of hats, be able to delegate. There's so much more to it. So just because they're a great employee doesn't automatically make them a great owner of your company. When you just randomly give an employee equity in the company because you think that they might take over someday, it can complicate your future sales. So let's say later on you receive an incredible offer from an outside buyer that this other person couldn't give you. Now you have another shareholder that you have to figure out what their rights are, what they want. It makes things complicated. So just be really careful. Next one is that they could leave. Imagine giving an employee 15, 20% because you think they're going to take over in a few years, and then 2 years later they get another job, and depending on your agreements, they may still own part of your company. So you have to be very careful with that. Okay, number 6, it can create entitlement instead of motivation. So sometimes ownership is given as an incentive, but once the equity is granted, that incentive can actually decrease. And so I would rather tie those rewards to measurable performance instead. And number 7, you can reward them without giving them ownership. You can do bonuses, you can do profit sharing, you can do commissions, you can do phantom equity, you can do retention bonuses, or give a percentage of the increased profits, not just a percentage of the profits, but a percentage of the increased profits, and give them an upside without immediately giving away the company to them as equity. So if they truly want to own it, you can create a pathway for them to buy it, and that's a lot cleaner approach. So let's say the company is worth $1 million. Instead of saying, okay, Susie, you've been so loyal, so I'm just going to randomly hand you 20%, which would be $200,000. You would never write them a check for $200,000 right then. You could say, look, I can give you the opportunity to become the owner. Over the next 2 years, you're going to transition into running the business, and we're going to have some key metrics. We're going to then possibly do a potential structure where you can purchase it with some cash down, some SBA financing, some seller financing, or an earn-in structure. So don't confuse succession with ownership. You can start transferring responsibility, authority, relationships, and operations without transferring equity right away. So let them run the business first. Let them demonstrate that they can maintain revenue, employees, customers, margins, and culture without you. Then discuss ownership. One exception is when equity is intentionally part of a carefully designed succession. So I think this is my philosophy. You don't need to give someone your business to prepare them to take over your business. You can give them the opportunity to earn more, lead more, and ultimately buy the company without giving away the equity prematurely. So please, 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 if you have questions on this, call us. You just can't pretend like it's monopoly money and just be like, oh, monopoly money. By the way, check out this new thing I got, this Monopoly book that I love.